Let's talk about linear inequalities. All right, so these are two inequality signs you should know by now from primary school. Uh, this one is less than, okay? And this one's greater than. Now, you don't really have to remember which one's which, but if you do want to trick, this this one right here is pointing to your left, and there's a L here, so that's the way I remember it. But if you have another way, leave it down in the comments. And there's also two more. So this one is less than or equal to and greater than or equal to. And you'll know that it's these two because these have like this distinct line at the bottom. Okay. And so you can also graph inequalities. So this is x greater than a. And you can see that it's an arrow with a circle here pointing to the right. And so when you're graphing x greater than or equal to a, you'll notice here that this uses an open circle, while this has a closed circle. So if you're using the equal to version, then you need to have a closed circle. These are the less than inequalities, so you can see that they point to the left. And so if you look over here, we have a question to write this as an inequality. So this is pointing to the right, and so that's going to use the greater one. And all you want to write is x over here because this says x is greater. And you want to write 2 because the circle is sitting at 2. So this one's a bit different because there's 2 dots at 2 different places. So here we have one at -3 and one at 0. So the way you want to do this, right, is you want to write both of these numbers. Okay. And so whatever's on the left end, right, you just want to write less than x, another less than. And one thing to also note is that the 0 has an open circle. So don't write the equal sign here. But the 3 has a closed circle. So you want to write the equal sign. And that's how you would write this as an inequality. Right, so this part is talking about solving linear inequalities. So say, for example, you had x minus 4 greater than 0. This is like very similar to solving x minus 4 is equal to 0. So if you were to solve this one right here, you would get x is equal to 4. And so when you're trying to solve this, right, you apply the same principle. So this, you bring the -4 over, so x greater than 4. Okay. Also another thing, right, whenever you divide or multiply with a negative in these inequalities, you always want to flip the sign. So a good example of this would be, let's say this. Okay. So when you're solving this, right, you bring the -4 over, so minus x greater than 4. And then here, right, when you want to bring the -1 over, or like, in other words, divide -1 both sides, you have to flip the sign. So here, we're going to be flipping the sign. Okay. If you don't, your answer's wrong, just to let you know. All right, so here we're asked to solve the following inequalities and graph their solutions on a number line. So just as I mentioned before, this is like solving an equation. So you want to bring the -4 over to the other side. So we have this, and then divide 3 both sides. So x greater than 3. All right, and the second part of the question wants us to graph the solutions on a number line. So we know that the circle is going to be at 3, right? And it's going to be open circle because this does not have the equal sign. So the open circle. And since this is greater than, it's going to move to the right, the arrow. You also want to like label the numbers, like maybe like 4 numbers. Oh, sorry, maybe like 2 numbers on each side, just to show to your teacher or whatever that this is a number line. All right, so I'll be going through one more example of this. So in this one, right, I'm going to bring the 4 over to the other side with minus x over 3 less than or equal to 2. Okay, and then I'm going to bring the 3 over here. So we have minus x greater or equal to 6. Not greater or equal to, sorry, less than or equal to. And so finally, we want to divide the -1 to this side. And remember, when you divide or multiply with a negative, you have to flip the sign. So here, this is going to be x greater than or equal to -6. All right, so we know that the circle is going to be at -6, okay? And it's going to be a closed circle, right? Because there's a equal sign here. And then label the numbers around it. And since this is greater than as well, it's going to go to the right. All right, that's it for linear inequalities.